Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Investing with the Difference. So today we are going to talk about one of the most awaited aspect of EOS, that is REX, and we have got Rohan from EOS Authority to talk about it. Then I think we are trying to answer everything about when REX, what will it mean, and what is the status of it. So welcome, Rohan, to the show, and thanks a lot for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
All right. So I think EOS Authority, as I believe, is doing quite a few things around REX. So we just recently saw this update from you that the REX code review is completed. You have found a bug. So I think a lot of people are excited. People are still not sure exactly what it means in terms of when REX is ready. So while I understand that you guys have found, we have been testing REX in the test net, the code is available. I think this is not what everybody knows, that code is already available. Rex can be implemented as today. So can you give us a quick update for people who don't know what's going on?
Yeah, sure. So Rex is a resource exchange. It was proposed by Dan back in August 2018, and um, he put out a blog article. Exactly, this is the one, August 2018. I still got the date right. So on his proposal, he talked about this whole new thing called Rex, and it had three things in mind, three things that he wanted to solve. The first was he wanted to be able to lower the CPU cost for tabs. The second was he proposed something like a rental model where token holders can get some return on spare tokens they have lying about. And a third interesting thing there was an incentive for token holders to participate in the actual governance. So these three were the highlights of Dan's article, and that was published in August. In December last year, so about 3, 4 months since his article, the first release candidate was put out by Block One. So that's when we first got hold of the code. We could actually see what they have in mind, the actual workings of the Rex token, and all of that. And so from December, today is January, it took us about a month to actually test it. There are a few reasons why it takes that long. We have 30-day loan periods, for example. So we put loans in, we wait for 30 days to see what happens as the loans work. We have like smaller things. So there's a time bound period of testing, unlike other things where you can quickly test and see. That delayed stuff a little bit, but it is very interesting to see yeah, what's going on within Rex as a whole.
Sure. No, I think this is great to hear. So I think just for viewers to make it very clear, so the code is available. Rex can be implemented today if we want to. If the bugs, I think, but the bug is already fixed by Block One, and if your tests are good with the updated code which comes out of Block One, what do you think will be the next step? Will you be waiting for 15 block producers to approve, or do you still want to wait for more? Like referendums or voting on some other aspects of Rex, which we will talk about soon, or you think it's ready to roll out?
Okay, so we have the release candidate one. The release candidate one was released. We have this bug. We are waiting for them to release another release candidate. It will probably be called release candidate two, or like maybe another tag that it's properly ready to be released. And once it's there, we'll have to test a little bit again. It won't take 30 days. We've tested all of that, and the changes made now don't affect all of that. So we just have to test the parts that we know where didn't work before. And once that's done, you're right, we could actually put a proposal together for all the block producers to actually approve, and Rex could be implemented straight away.
Sure.
With Rex being implemented, there is a Block One's made it fairly simple to implement Rex without channeling the RAM piece and the name piece. There is this whole proposal now, which is fairly popular, it's the most voted uh, proposal on the entire referendum system. Um, this is concerning the name fees and yeah, that's the one. This is concerning the RAM fees and the name bid fees. If this should be included within Rex, if yeah, if we don't want to include this, it's a simple flag. We can just switch off a single flag and deploy Rex. And if we were to do it, these fees wouldn't apply. It'll just be the loan payments that would go into Rex.
All right. So I think just to clarify what Rohan said here, so this proposal, I think a lot of people are viewing it because I think with our investing with the difference, we have voted. A lot of people have been voting on this. So just to remind you guys that while this proposal is the most important one, it's getting most attention. This will add new fees like RAM fee and the names fee. But irrespective of that, if you want to go for Chintai model where you are only looking for people who are lending, or I think lending was a confusing word, so let's call it borrowing. So people who are borrowing and paying the rent, those guys are going to be funding your Rex payments, and that basic lending and borrowing model is available in the code. It can be implemented by block producers without a referendum. So Rex is coming either way, whether this referendum passes or not. So I think this is a great news. I don't think many people knew about it. But why is it important that we get this referendum passed is because we do want to use this system fee, which is accumulating with no purpose, and give it back to token holders. I think that would be a great thing. What do you say, Rohan, about that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good proposal, and this actually uh, brings together what Dan proposed in his original proposal back in August. So I think, yeah, we'll have to properly get it implemented. To give you some sense of numbers, we have about 2 million EOS in the RAM fee account. So this is from the beginning, and we have 1.2 million on the name bids account. So together, they're about 4 million EOS is sitting there at the moment. So that was built over, yeah, good 7-8 months of, yeah, of time. So you can imagine that's quite a lot of fees, and that can be directed to, yeah, to the token holders, and give them an incentive to actually take part in all the governance voting and all of that. So,
So Rohan, how would it work? Let's say these 4 million tokens are out there and they get accumulated in Rex immediately if the referendum proposal passes. Does this get distributed to the people who apply for Rex or who buy Rex tokens? So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about how the Rex will work. But how does it get distributed? Does it just you immediately get the benefits, or it will be slowly distributed? This is a huge amount we're talking about, 4 million tokens.
yeah, that's a good question. That was one of the first things I took a look at when I saw the code. When you switch on the flag which says channel the funds from Rex fees and name bid fees, it'll only channel funds that are generated after Rex is being activated. So the 4 million that we spoke about will still be in that account. It'll still be right there. What we could probably do in the future, once we see that every people have got into Rex, we could probably transfer that into Rex at some point, maybe something like that. But the way Rex is coded at the moment, only future funds that are allocated after the flag is switched on will be allocated to, yeah,
All right.
to Rex.
So I think this is a great distinction because a lot of people are assuming that all the funds which are sitting there will just come as a reward for token holders. So thanks for clarifying. So now let's talk about how Rex will work. So I think people are already familiar with the leasing model with Chintai, and I think there are a lot of other similar models in place. But Rex is a fairly different because you do not have to unstake, you do not have to transfer your tokens. So let's talk about that, and can you give a little more details on how Rex will work? Like when, let's say if I am a token holder and I have 100 EOS staked, what would I do to get that maximum benefit out of Rex?
Okay, so to buy Rex, so say you there isn't big news. I'm sure this will be big news when it's out there and live. Everybody will know about it if they pay a little bit of attention already. So the moment what will happen normally is the BPs will have to do a 15 out of 21 approval and get this approved, and hopefully that's normally done in like 2-3 days time. Once that's done and once Rex is ready, all that a token holder has to do is to vote for 21 block producers first, or select a proxy, one of the two things, and then they're able to like get started with Rex straight away. What's important to know is do not unstake your EOS, leave it staked, because Rex has a built-in feature to move all your tokens from your liquid supply or from your staked directly into Rex. So this is fairly important. I've heard people talk about this before. They were like, I want to be ready for Rex. Should I start unstaking now? The answer is no. Keep your tokens staked. Don't unstake it yet. All you have to do is wait for Rex to be approved. Once it is, You can quickly, we're building an interface. It'll be very simple to use. They just have to click a button and then start moving tokens to Rex, and they can choose how much to move and all of that.
All right.
So
So you're saying that stake token can be used, but what will people see? Will the EOS disappear from their account and they will start seeing something else? So can you give a little more details on what people can expect? And I think the major difference I understand now is you are still in control of all your tokens versus giving it away to somebody as a custodian like Chintai or some other agencies who are helping give lend tokens. So right now you're lending directly from your account, and you and your keys and your wallets are still holding those tokens. Is that correct?
yeah, and that's absolutely right. With Rex, you control the tokens. Your tokens stay with you. Chintai did a good. They have a. They approach it very seriously. They have lots of security uh, uh, restrictions in place. For example, they need their sponsor BPs to approve a transaction, so contracts cannot be updated quickly. They put a lot of thought into it. But having said all that, you're still not in control of your tokens. But with Rex, it's actually something that's built in at the system level. So all the tokens remain within your account. Now, what you see when you go into your account depends on the block explorer that you use. So if you go into a block explorer that recognizes there is something called Rex and all of that, then they could adjust to show your balance correctly in EOS, or they could show it to you in Rex. Um, Whatever you invest into Rex, you don't really lose out on any EOS, irrespective of what the exchange rate is. When Rex launches, one EOS will get you 10,000 Rex, but that internal rate will uh, vary quite a lot based on the Rex supply, demand, and all of that. But that doesn't at any point, if you were to sell Rex, you would definitely get back the EOS that you originally invested, or in most cases, it'll be a profit based on all the leasing that
Sure.
happens.
So what you're saying is for every EOS, you will get 10,000 Rex. These will be new tokens in your account, but block explorers can change the way you see the wallets or interfaces can keep you to make it simple. The recommendation from your side is they can keep showing actual EOS in your account rather than Rex, but it can be marked as allocated to Rex. I think that's a
Exactly.
great idea, and I would definitely recommend block explorers and the wallet interfaces to I think about it. But let me ask you another thing. So let's say if I buy 10,000 Rex with one EOS, and maybe with 100 EOS I will have like a million uh, Rex. Now, whenever, like, how many days I can keep it there? Uh, is there any minimum I can, in terms of when can I get it back as EOS if I want to make it unstake?
Yes, yeah, that's a good question. So, before Rex was implemented, before this code came out, people were throwing out all kinds of numbers like you'll have to keep it locked for 30 days, some were saying 5 days, 3 days. But looking at the code and how it's implemented, the answer is 4 days and a little bit. So 4 days, approximately 4 to 5 days is what you'll have to keep it locked.
Oh,
And so I buy Rex. If, say, for example, I spend 100 EOS, I get 100 into 10,000 Rex. I'll have to wait for 4 to 5 days, and we call it internally as a Rex maturity, and that's 4 to 5 days for maturity of the Rex. And once Rex matures, I can sell it immediately back, and I can
okay.
get.
So let's say, so I think in the staking, so when we stake the EOS right now, if I unstake like partially and then I try to unstake more, it resets my 3 day period. Is Rex similar? Like, or can I start withdrawing in a small amounts and keep withdrawing with a 4 day period? Or in other words, how does it work? Like when you unstake, you wait for your tokens for 4 days. In Rex, do you have to wait, or if already 4 days have passed, you can withdraw any amount you want?
Yeah, so that is also a very good question. So what we do there is we on the code, how it works is we have a bucket. So in case you have, say, you have 1,000 EOS, you decide to put 100 EOS into Rex, and then on the same day you'll be like, I should have put some more, and you put another 100. 200 EOS will go into a single bucket, and that bucket will mature in 4 to 5 days. If you do another 100 the next day, that'll go into another bucket, and that bucket matures separately, and that will be maturing in another 4 days. So it's more granular compared to what we had for CPU and stake. That didn't work this way. But here the concept of Rex maturity buckets make it like very flexible. So you could have different Rex maturing, yeah, at
Okay.
different dates.
So is it like a per day, or is it because the day can be different for different time zones, or is it a timestamp based? Like, let's say if I do two transactions in 1 hour apart, will they be counted as two different buckets?
Yeah, so all the timing is based on UTC time, and the reason I said 4 days and a bit is because it resets at uh, midnight, just past midnight.
Okay.
So it waits till then, so at UTC again. So yeah,
Okay. So that's why you said 4 to 5, because based on whether you were on this side of UTC or the other side.
exactly,
Okay. Now
exactly,
that
exactly.
makes it very clear.
Yeah,
So
so
let's say
I
if
didn't want to
I
put the time in between that, but yeah, exactly, that's it.
Sure. So now I think then it's exactly opposite of staking. So what you're saying is it is now the dependency is not on uh, when you, like, you can have your Rex tokens back to you immediately if it is beyond the maturity date, like
Yeah,
4 to 5 days may
you're right.
pass. Yeah.
Exactly. So with EOS stake, you'll have to give an unstake command and then wait for 3 days. Here, like if your token, if you just hold Rex tokens for 4 days, automatically matures. And if you feel like it, you can immediately, yeah, immediately you can unstake it.
Okay.
Just
So
sell. You
now,
can just sell.
so while I am, so let's say I put 100 staked tokens into Rex, and when I'm moving my tokens out of Rex, will they become staked automatically, or do I have a choice to have them unstaked, or and spend 3 days into that?
Yeah. So here, what happens is if you were to sell your Rex, it'll go into your liquid balance. So you can move from your liquid or from your staked EOS tokens into buy Rex. But then when you sell Rex, it all goes straight into your liquid balance.
Oh, that's perfect. So I think I can imagine a very good use case where you are actually unstaking. And even if you're not using Rex, you should use Rex for unstaking, because you're only losing one more day and you're getting free rent. So
Yeah, I
just
mean,
for
yes, yes. Yeah,
so
yeah, that's a very
um,
good thinking, definitely. Yeah. So instead of unstaking and waiting, you put it into Rex and then you wait for it to
to mature.
sell. Yes.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
think then, so let me tell all the viewers. So if you are anytime looking for liquid EOS from your stake tokens, there is no reason, even if you don't believe in Rex, even if you don't care about it, you are getting free tokens just for waiting another extra day for unstaking. So do take advantage of Rex whenever it comes, because this is amazing. I think I'm loving it more and more every time I'm hearing more details about Rex. So basically what we are saying is, when you are getting the tokens back from Rex, you are selling your Rex tokens. It will get converted into EOS, which you originally invested, plus some additional interest, which will always be positive. It can never be negative, the way Rex is designed. Of course, it can be very small based on demand for CPU versus pretty high if the CPU demand is very high. As we saw in Chintai, that was a great test, because I think Chintai created a market for lending, and in December we saw that the CPU was pretty congested, and a lot of dApps were renting from Chintai, and the rates went up. So similar things we can expect from Rex. But the point here is, you will always be making some positive interest. You will never lose your tokens. It will be always be in your control. And I think it's not a bad idea to get liquid tokens, because staking is instantaneous. If you want to keep them safe, you can immediately stake it as soon as you get it back from Rex. Yeah, so, and you can also immediately get it back from Rex. So I like it. So is it the correct understanding, Rohan, whatever I summarized, or do you want to add
Oh
any
yeah,
other feature?
you summarized it perfectly. Um, I'd like to add a caveat there, but we'll talk about that. It's a 30-day period. It's a very edge case scenario, and that's related to the bug that we just found. But you've summarized everything perfectly. There's some more detail.
No, I mean,
But what you've captured so far, that's what 90% of the users would feel 90% of the time, for
sure.
sure.
So what about this 30-day period which we have been talking about? So I understand the lending, like the borrowing is 30 days. So the dApps have to commit at least 30 days. So do you want to talk about that? What it means for Rex?
Yes. So all of the dApps, if they were to so far what we've discussed is even the tokens that you buy, none of this has a banker algorithm in place. There is a simple 1:10,000 conversion for Rex, and you buy and sell. All that is fine. So we're talking about dApps now. With dApps, a few more things come in. So there are things like a 30-day loan period. So every dApp, if they were to with Chinta, you can lease tokens for 7 days, 14 days, and 28 days, and so on. With Rex, it's going to be 30 days. That's only one. You can only rent for 30 days, and that's it. There's no 7 day. There's no other alternative. And if you so what as a DApp, what you would do is you would go to the system and say, "Hey, give me some tokens. This is a loan payment amount that I'd like to make," and the system calculates what amount can be released based on the loan payment. The actual amount of stake tokens that you get in return is based on the unlent tokens and is also based on what's available in the system and what the payment is. There's three variables that make up how much money you get. So it's based on how much rent's paid so far, that loan payments, and so on. So it's 30 days, and the banker algorithm decides how much CPU tokens you get. As a DApp, what you could do is Dan's original proposal had if you were to keep your 30-day loan, and then if you were to like top up your account so that the loan payment can renew, he originally proposed a 10% discount on the loan, but that's taken off. You don't have that anymore. Uh, yeah, after 30 days, if you maintain a balance and if the loan payment can be taken out, again it depends on the banker algorithm at that point, and you get CPU based on the availability at that point.
Okay. So currently it will, so when you say you have to pay some money, so let's say if I want to rent some CPU and I pay 10 EOS, based on the banker algorithm, let's assume I get 1000 EOS worth of CPU. After 30 days, I don't have to pay anything more than 10 EOS, right? So 10 EOS I paid as a rent and it gets into the Rex pool. But after 30 days, will I have to do it again 10 EOS payment, or based on the new rates? Of course, for 1000 EOS, maybe the rates are different at that time.
Yes.
So
What?
what will be the process for me?
So as a DApp, so there's a loan table set up. On the loan table, we track how much balance you have, so you can fund the loan. If you fund the loan, if the loan funding is zero, 10 EOS was a payment to be taken out. After a month, the algorithm will check if you have 10 EOS left in the loan fund account. If it's not there, the loan cancels. If you have 10 EOS or more than 10 EOS on your loan fund account, it'll deduct the 10 from the loan fund and it'll renew the loan based on the banker algorithm for that day. So you could get more than 1000 CPU that you got in the first instance, or you could get lower or higher based on the banker algorithm pricing.
All right. So this is for dApps and also for users. Like, for example, I know that in December, a lot of people who were actually using dApps, they were looking for CPU and they were going to Chintai. I remember I rented some CPU from Chintai for a week. So if I have to do it, so I do. So it's similar thing. You're saying I do need to create a loan fund, and that will be similar to Rex. Will this be a token, or like exactly how does it work? Is it another category like stake tokens? Can I move my stake token to this loan fund, or it has to be liquid tokens?
Yeah, so it has to be liquid tokens, and with dApps and with people who are looking for tokens, it works slightly differently. The voting requirement does not apply, so you don't have to vote for block producers, for example, to get hold of these tokens. And all you have to do is top up your loan fund account. It'll be a simple process based on the UIs. You just have to put a single payment in. You don't have to. So the initial payment that you make will fund your loan, and then if you don't want to renew it, don't top up your loan fund. You can change it at any point. You can add funds to loan fund at any time. You can take out loan. Yeah, you can take out or withdraw deposit at any time. If the loan fund has funds in it, your loan will automatically renew. If not, it'll just be a one-off loan, and that's it.
Sure. But what is the amount? Like, for example, let's say if I get a 10 EOS worth of CPU, and then I fund 5 EOS into my loan fund. Does it give me that much? Or if I put 20, will it still take 10, or will it take all 20 next time?
Oh, no, it'll only take 10. So whatever was your original payment, it keeps reducing that 10. So it'll be 10. And if you have 5, but your original payment was 10, it wouldn't renew the loan because you need at least 10 years to continue.
So you set the amount, and if you need to top up with a new amount, you need to initiate a new loan pay request. Oh, that's a great implementation. So I think we got a lot of questions answered how Rex will work. We understand that if you're loaning or you're borrowing, let's be very careful about the terms, because when Chintai was launched, there's a lot of confusion around what is lending versus borrowing. So let's say if you need CPU, you will be paying a little amount of EOS and get a lot of, and I think based on my understanding, Rex is easier for people to trust because you are not unstaking your tokens, your tokens are safe, your stake token directly go into Rex fund. So a lot more people will be comfortable using Rex. So I'm assuming that the supply will be bigger and because we should see lesser returns, but it's much more easier returns. So it will make dApps get cheap CPU and scale up faster. And also we learned how you can take part in Rex. So Rohan, anything else you would like to highlight and which we missed in the process of Rex?
Yes. So now, hopefully the viewers they know how the normal scenario works. There is one more scenario here, which is, again, I don't expect it to happen often. And this leads us also to the bug that we found and how it works. So we tested all of this. This was like the core part of the daily usage of all the users and all of that, and it works fine. There is one aspect of Rex which is triggered only in extreme scenarios. So for example, if, as you said, I expect the same thing. I expect a lot of users to put their tokens on EOS, on the entire Rex, because obviously it's at the system level. It's very easy for token holders to take part. It's very, it's almost risk-free and all of that. But what's important to know is if there is a case where there is like a massive withdrawal of EOS tokens, if everybody were to like completely withdraw EOS tokens and there is no, I mean, you can't fill the sell orders. At that point, if I were to sell Rex, I can't get my tokens back. So this is an important point. It's not something that we will get to every day, but it could happen where you have, I don't know why people would sell in mass. There could be something happening at that point. If there are too many sell orders, Rex will start forming a sell queue, and all the sell orders will go into a queue. At this point, no more new loans are accepted, and the system kind of comes to a halt until all the Rex queues are filled, all the cells are filled. So going back to your other case where you want to unstake and then you want to wait for 4 days, if there is there could be a point where if there's no funds in Rex, if there's a massive sell-off, you'll have to wait for maybe 30 days for your funds to be available.
Okay, so what you're saying is let's say if the tokens are already allocated as a CPU for some dApps, you don't have enough liquidity in the Rex fund, and the outflow is bigger than the inflow. That will be the case, as I understand. So basically what you're saying is the liquidity of EOS, because the unstaking is 4 days, like from the lender perspective, and for a borrower, it's 30 days. So that mismatch is creating the scenario where you're still waiting for 30 days for the dApp to release the CPU, because you have to give that to dApp. But there are a lot more people trying to take the tokens out. So what can be the reason? Why would you think people will be taking out? Maybe because of some panic selling in EOS market. Let's say the people are trying to sell their EOS and want to liquidate Rex. Is that what you're considering?
I don't. We tried to simulate this on Jungle Test Network, and it was really hard to, because the Bankor algorithm is fairly smart. If it sees that the supply is reducing, the loan payments will be too high, and then at some point, people wouldn't pay that loan. The only way we could create this in Jungle is we have a massive account, a 10 million EOS would come in, they would flood the tokens with EOS. So a case where you would have 10 million EOS bought into Rex. So suddenly we have too much Rex available. And then if you make 100 EOS payment as a loan payment, you get so much so much CPU tokens because there's so much available in the system. And then after 4 days, if that massive token holder were to sell like 10 million EOS of Rex, then there will be a shortage suddenly.
Okay. So how about, I just got an idea, like while we are talking about this RAM fee and name fee as future funds which are going to go into Rex. So also I think the clear distinction for this referendum is that the current 4 million tokens will not really go into the Rex funds. can that 4 million, can there be another referendum to say that that 4 million tokens, which are already there, can be used as a liquidity fund in the Rex, which is always available as additional funds in this to resolve this kind of scenario?
Yeah, yes, we could use that fund. We could use anything actually, as long as you, I mean, it's not required. The system will sort itself out, obviously. It's just a case of waiting. Uh, but anything transferred to EOS Rex, if that's the account that it's implemented in, if anybody wants to top up anything, give something back to the community, you could just pay into that account, and immediately all the Rex holders will be distributed whatever is in that account.
Understand.
Uh,
So I think what you're saying is the new loans will not be issued because there's a big sell queue, and anyway, after 30 days the loans will expire, and they will be in a steady state. Every day there will be loans expiring, the sell queue will be filling up. So
exactly.
it's going to just take a little longer for people to get their funds because of this liquidity crunch. But otherwise, it's not going to be a problem. Because system is designed in such a way that you will never be in a state where there is a bank run and you're not able to get your tokens back. So that's
Exactly.
great. I'm glad to hear that. So it's not a major issue, I would say, and it's a very corner case when. And as you said, right, means if the people are taking the money out of Rex, the prices will become higher, and that would also mean that we may get better returns from Rex, and less people will be willing to take it out. There will be more motivation to keep it in the Rex. So that is another way of to look at it, that it's not really going to happen because people will be looking to benefit from that, and there will be more people buying Rex at that time because the
Yeah,
rates will be going higher all the
absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. I think this was just a theoretical case that we were testing out, and this was already built in. And the bug that we found lied in this area where we managed to like put a massive sell queue, and the system was supposed to stop further sells, but then we managed to sell more and more tokens, and we managed to get more EOS than what we put into Rex originally. So that
Okay.
was the
No, I think that's a great
yeah.
test, and I'm glad that block producers like you are doing this testing and really finding these corner cases to give more assurance. And I think this is why people need to understand that people are a lot of impatience right now on Venrex, and I'm glad that we are waiting and making sure. Like block one has no way, so we keep complaining about block one is not releasing it or we are not implementing it. Block one is not running the EOS mainnet. They don't have a way to test it with the proper use cases. They can only do simulations, and I'm glad that there is a jungle testnet, so many block producers running in the community, and we appreciate all the effort. So I think without us further, I think spending time on this topic, what is the most important question everybody has: when we can see this in action? And assuming we don't need this RAM fee and name fee to get started, while we talked about the release candidate too, let's assume the best timelines. Like let's say tomorrow you get the release candidate and you start your testing. What is your proposal? Like based on your understanding, can we see it next month? Can we see it like within this quarter? What is your timeline prediction?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, this is a decentralized system. It's not just up to one block producer. But I think if they were to give us a release candidate tomorrow, we have a list of things to check. Obviously, we'll have to see if they made any other changes. But if they didn't touch the loan renewal, which is the longest thing to test, is 30 days and all of that, we've tested all of that. If nothing affects that, then we'll just need a week or so to test it. And then once it's done, maybe in a couple of weeks or so, we could say, yes, it looks good to us. And it's maybe other community members would confirm as well. And then we could send a multi-sig proposal and get it all done. Without the proposal, without the other referendum poll going, and I think maybe this quarter is reasonable. Maybe earlier, maybe in a month's time, who knows?
All right.
But yeah, I would say a month is good. Best case scenario this quarter. Yeah.
No, I'm glad to hear that, and thanks a lot, Rohan, for explaining Rex. I think a lot of people, I don't think, understand these details about what Rex would mean. I think people would love to join this whole new era of EOS, where you can make dividends without doing much other than converting your EOS token into Rex tokens, not losing control, not losing your voting power. This is, I think, what we all wanted because I think while already there are venues to get your dividends. Chinta is a great tool. They have done amazing work for this community, for dApps. A lot of other, I think, services are there. But I think this is totally different because you can bring in a lot new set of users who don't want to lose control of their votes, who don't want to lose the control of the tokens in their accounts. And it's an amazing thing, and we are all waiting for it.
No, I totally agree. So we were doing some analysis. On Genesis, we had 160,000 accounts, and 100,000 of those accounts haven't been used yet. So there are quite a lot of people who are waiting for something like Rex or a hardware wallet or something before they get engaged. So I hope to see a lot of community engagement, and I'm sure there are probably token holders who listen to all your podcasts, all your videos, but then they still keep watching EOS. They don't really do anything with their tokens. But to them, I'd just say, if you want to get ready for Rex, just identify a good wallet. There's lots of options now compared to 7 months before, and probably review block producers or like choose a proxy like investing with a difference, and that's all. Don't unstake your tokens. Leave them all staked, and just wait for a UI to come up, and then it'll all be fairly quick and easy to get on board.
No, that's a great message, Rohan. I think thank you for this particular advice. So anybody who has not touched their Genesis account, who has not risked the tokens, Rex doesn't need you to risk your tokens. It doesn't need you to unstake your tokens. All you need is to set up a wallet, start using it, and you will be ready. And I think with the great tools EOS Authority has been providing, with the great interfaces, like for example, poll referendums, I'm sure the Rex interfaces will look very easy to understand, and look forward to that. And thanks a lot, Rohan, for coming to the show and explaining Rex and giving us a quick update. Any last words for the users?
No, thank you so much, Rama. Thank you for all that you do for the community. It's really nice to speak to you again. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.